Hi, this is Russell from Low Fruit Solutions, and today we're going to be talking about the related product feature for the Pro Blogger application. The purpose of related products is essentially to be able to display products within your blog that are directly related to the content that is in that particular article. And the reason you would have this is that, obviously, if someone or a browser is currently invested in your blog, then it's most likely that the products most related to them or of that would be most interesting to them would also be related to that product. So as an example, if you had a article that was about improving your swimming, you would also then display products related to swim training as a classic example, like kickboards, like the hand paddles and fins. So that's what we're going to implement today. So first, let's have a look and see what a blog article looks like, which doesn't have the feature we're about to implement. So it's going to look at my development store here, scroll down to this article, Pineapples for Your Health, click on it, and we're going to, it's your standard article, nothing special, got a couple of images in it and a bunch of text, right? So if I was reading this now, as if I'd come to this first, I would click on here and then eventually I would have to click out to go into the catalog, search, try find products most related to what I'm looking for, etc. So there's already too many steps, if you know what I mean. So your opportunities for losing someone or losing their interest are a lot higher than if we implement a related products feature within the blog. So let's go to the store dashboard, and what we're going to do is we're going to click on apps, and obviously we have Pro Blogger here. This is the UAT version because we're in a demo store. The production version will not include the UAT brackets, and we're going to scroll down to related products. So we're going to enable this feature, just enable it, hit save. We will discuss these little settings in a short while and what they mean. So that's green, it's now enabled. And let's to give ourselves a bit of room, what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this tab because I want to keep the app portion open while we're editing code. So we're just going to duplicate, and it gives you a reference and the ability to then reference the code installation instructions in one tab and do the implementation in another. So I'm going to click on Online Store. Now, we always recommend before making changes to your theme, you back it up. To simply do that, you just click Actions and hit Duplicate, and that'll make a copy of your current theme and all the settings, which you can then, settings that are maintained within that theme. Obviously, some of them are transient, and you will, be able to republish that. So let's go back to the app and go into the installation instructions. Now, as per every other feature within Pro Blogger, there is the general installation section. If you've already done this for a particular feature that you've already enabled, then you don't need to do it again. It's a one-off install, right? So what we're going to do is just scroll down to this line 10 here and copy this include Pro Blogger section wrapper. Just copy that. And we're going to go back to our theme and we're going to choose edit code. This is on the debut theme, but this change we're about to make, it's the same across everything. So you're going to look underneath the layout folder for theme.liquid, click on that, and you're going to see, starting at the top, scrolling down, that there is a section here called head right there. We'll just do a carriage return, copy paste, and that has now put the section wrapper into your theme. So you want to make sure you hit save. Also make sure that if you've typed this in manually that it displays as green. If you have the wrong quote in there, it'll be black. We want to make sure that it's green. Hit save. Okay, so that's the general installation portion done. Very straightforward. And like I said, if you've already done it, you don't put it in again. So let's just collapse general install, scroll down to related products. It's pretty straightforward implementation. And we're going to go down to line item 10 here and just copy this piece of code, the include Pro Blogger snippet related products. So I've just copied that. Now we're going to want to add this to our article file, right? So typically you would go down to the templates folder, click on article.liquid. Now in older themes, this is where you'd make your change, and where you would make it will be evident very shortly. But this is a new theme, and most new themes use sections. The giveaway being you scroll down, you'll see this little section piece of text and a name of a file, article-template. So what we really need to do here then is edit this file. So it's going to collapse it, templates. I'm going to go to sections because that's where the section files live. And you'll see here we have article-template. We're going to click on that. And what we're looking for in this file is we're looking for article.content. Or if you've implemented article features, you'll be looking for article_contents. But for now, we are looking for this. This is the body of the text that is currently in your blog. Right? Now, what we want to do in this particular case, we're going to include the related product slider underneath that. So you're going to have your blog content, and underneath you're going to have related products. I'm just going to hit save. We're going to go back to our blog. I'm just going to hit refresh. And there we go. This article was about pineapples, and related products happen to be a number of pineapples. Now you could obviously change where that formatting is at if you don't like it before the social sharing items. You would just go basically back to your editor, just cut that out and paste it underneath. Right, so that way then your blog is sort of all together in its own little way, and your related products will fit nicely underneath here. Now let's talk about styling and the options in the app, right? So that's the liquid implementation done, unless you plan to move it to a sidebar, which you can do, of course, and then we'll talk about the best display options for that. But there are two essential data points that match articles to products, right? Which is the title, right? And that is the title of the product, right? So in this case, I have an article that's about pineapples. So let's maybe go to a different blog so we can demonstrate how this just works now, right? We've just plugged it in. So I've got deciduous fruit here. Deciduous fruit, okay, that's a wide variety of fruit. In this case, we've got a bit of a blend, right? And not all of it is deciduous, and there's a reason for that. When matching to products at the moment, title will be there are a number of options here as well. Title will be deemed very important. Now you have not important, which basically means ignore any matches, and most important. And what the slider will do is it will look at the tags that are applied to that article. In this case, the deciduous fruit article, right, has a number of tags, which we'll actually be able to see it in the bottom here, which is deciduous and fruit. And it's going to look for items or articles that have a match to that. Now, if we look at this one, the pineapples, it's looking for just health and pineapple, which is why you'll see just pineapples and nothing else. If we look at another one here, fruits, pears, and mangoes, it's got an even larger amount of tags, which will allow it to do even further matching into products. So you can see there's a wider range of products that are now coming up because of those particular tags. But pears and mangoes, because of the titles, are actually the highest level of relativity, and then everything else sort of fits down below it. So matching a title, if you have a tag on your article that says, for instance, in this case, mango, and then you have a product with the name mango, that value will become important. Now we can specify it to be the most important value, which means anything that's sorted that way will be put at the top of the list of the slider. So, which is it's a useful feature to have if you really want to if you have an article about specific products and you tag them in by name to the article, then those products will come up, right? And especially if you say most important. Well, in this case, we're going to say, okay, look, it's mildly important. It's tag relevance is actually more important. And what does that mean is that when you create your products and you give them a tag, right? Because you're categorizing them effectively with tags, the same way you do with articles. So if you have a product that's a mango, you will tag it with the mango as the name of the product, or the type, um, potentially the vendor, where it came from, the type of mango. Maybe it's like a Kensington or something along those lines. These are obviously just examples. If you were doing with tennis rackets, you would have like Wilson as the manufacturer, tennis uh, racket, professional model, and so forth. And those tags, then if you had them in an article, would draw the relationship together. So we're going to say this is very important, the tag relevance. Now, this is to the right here. The this is how it displays. Now, related products is exactly what it means. It's just obviously not very you know appealing, right? But it's there as a generic piece of text. I would suggest tailoring it specifically to your site, in which case we've got in this case, our demo is about a fruit. So what you might say is, in this case, is like feel like some fruit, right? And the H4 and this here is a standard HTML header and closing tag, so you can adjust that to whatever size you want. In which case, let's make it a H2, which is quite large as a header, but we're going to do that. Now, the size, the bits below, the slider size is essentially the number of items hidden and visible within the slider, the maximum that you will allow. So when these relativity matches are done, right, you may, for instance, if you've got a large product base and they all share the same tags, the app will work out which ones have the best weighting, and it'll sort them from most relevant to least relevant, and then this number determines how many of those you put in the slider. So if I only said 6, and I might have like 50 matches, then I'm only going to get the top 6. Likewise, if I had 7, top 6 would only show. If you only have 4 matches and you said 6, you're only going to get 4 matches. It's, that's the way it works. And the reason we have this in here is specifically for when you do things like sidebar implementations, because if you've got a sidebar, you have really a limited amount of real estate, and you may not want 10 little scroll icons sitting underneath the image itself, right? And you're not going to say display more than one, because you want one to be paging through. Anyway, in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to choose 6 as a random example. Actually, how many do we have in there now? 1, 2, 3. So we've got 5. So we're going to choose 6 just to increase the size of it. Items to display. 6 is the actual amount. Items to display is what we're currently seeing, which is 5. If we change that to 6, we should now get a static bar. So if you don't want it to slide, you can just set them the same, and it'll be a fixed amount, assuming the number of values are in there, until you change the space. Because being a responsive slider, if you crush it up, it'll then, it'll display less, but it'll slide more, if that makes sense. Now, if we go to back to items display, I'm actually going to change that to 4. We're just going to hit save. So if you remember what the behavior was, so we currently had 5 in the slider, and they were, sliding along quite nicely. And I've changed it to 4. There we go. There's 4, and there's only another couple in there, right? So there's only the additional ones, exactly as the settings we set here, which is display 4 and have 6 in the slider tool. So there we go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then after the pineapple, 5, 6. Right, so that's how you would control the look and feel of the slider. Okay. As I said, if you were to do this into a sidebar, because you've only got to have a limited amount of space here, you would change the display to 1, because then it would just scroll single item at a time. And that's related products. Very straightforward, but very effective, right? If I was just reading this blog and I thought, yeah, that the sounds of these particular item, it sounds really good, and then there's an offer. There's no jumping back into the catalog, or to see what products you may have. I'm actually being served products that are most relevant to the article that I've just read, and it's dynamic, which means that no matter which article I go, I will get a tailored experience specific to the relativity of both the product and the article. How you build the relativity, we will dive into in another video, but I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'm sure we will be presenting more in the near future.